Are you wondering what are the cheapest countries to live in Europe under 1000 euros monthly for two? Well, we have compiled a list of 10 beautiful places where to live as a remote worker, freelancer, digital nomad, or retiree. All prices and expenses mentioned in the video are in euros for two people, based on some personal experiences, deep online searches, data through agencies, and various booking sites. Now let's find out why these places are so affordable and best of all. Number 10. Czech Republic. In terms of costs, the Czech Republic is not as budgetary as other cheap countries in Europe. But with successful employment, it provides stability, a high level of comfort, safety, and decent healthcare. There are in-demand professions for foreigners in the banking sector, IT, services, and tourism. If you decide to make a base outside Prague, the country offers excellent real estate deals and a fairly low cost of living. But again, low cost of living compared to cities in Western Europe, not those European countries that will be mentioned later in the video. The monthly budget per person in Czech Republic is one of the highest on the video list of the cheapest countries. With about 800 euros per month, you can cover all your basic costs, but nothing extraordinary. The cost of living in Prague is incredibly high these days. Renting a one-bedroom furnished apartment in the center of Prague is around 700 euros. In Brno, 500 euros. Apartments for rent often come with only a refrigerator, kitchen, and stove, but these are also fully furnished ones. Transportation costs and eating out in Prague is quite expensive. If you have only 1000 euros per month, the best option would be to live in a less popular Czech city or on the outskirts of Prague. Eat mainly at home and try to stick to free or low-cost activities. In smaller cities, prices are lower. They are very charming in appearance, just smaller with fewer activities and expense. At number 9, we have Portugal. There are a number of factors that contribute to Portugal's good and affordable reputation, and you may want to try to live there even for a short period of time. First of all, Portugal is famous for its unique coastline along the Atlantic Ocean, delicious seafood, and laid-back atmosphere. It has one of the best climates in Europe and is usually warmer than the rest of the continent. During the summer, the ocean helps control temperatures, making the heat less intense. Life in this country is slow. Locals are very friendly, healthcare is good, and the country is incredibly beautiful. There are historical sites and beaches, scenic drives, and just the entire country is one gorgeous place. Lisbon and Porto are very tourist cities that are quite expensive in terms of real estate, some activities, and food. That is why, when thinking about the cheapest cities to live in Europe, remember that Portugal's Lisbon and Porto are not the cheap anymore. If we talk about monthly budget, in recent years, it has been gaining popularity quickly as a safe and amazing place to visit or retire. Therefore, prices are rising, especially in the most famous cities and towns. The budget varies greatly when you compare Lisbon or Porto with other cities or towns. If you don't choose these two major cities and stick to smaller, less known ones, you would need just 1000 euros per month for two people. At number 8, we have Croatia. Among all the Balkan countries and former republics of Yugoslavia, Croatia is the most expensive of all. However, you need to remember that if in neighboring Montenegro, for 700 to 800 euros, you can live modestly but with taste. In Croatia, this amount will be enough only in rural areas. In addition, living expenses in different cities differ quite a lot from each other. For example, cities that stand on the coast are much more expensive, leaving the capital rather cheap. Due to that, Croatia belongs to that smaller number of EU countries where life is least expensive in the capital. If we talk about monthly budget, in Croatia, for the most part, you will need not more than 1000 euros per month for two people. If you are ready to lead a very modest lifestyle in a quieter town away from the tourist site in peace, then it is possible very easily to meet this budget. At number 7, we have Hungary. Just south of Slovakia is another cheap EU country with a low cost of living where there are practically no restrictions on the purchase of real estate and living costs are lower than in other EU countries. Besides being cheap, Hungary also has excellent ecology, temperature climate, and of course, world famous thermal springs that create favorable conditions for life in the country. Even though it is landlocked, Hungary has a lot of water resources and Budapest is considered the spa capital of Europe. Prices here are considered lower than in most of the countries in EU. The average salary is also low, but this is enough for maintaining a qualitative lifestyle. And if you make a Western world salary, living in this part of Europe will be very inexpensive. Hungary is divided into Western and Eastern parts. The West is considered more pricey and popular among tourists than East. However, in the eastern part, it is quite possible to find regions comfortable for living. With 1000 euros per month, it is not difficult to live in Hungary very comfortably. This amount will be enough for renting a flat and paying for utilities, buying quality food, and allowing yourself entertainment. At the same time, if living in another place than Budapest, it is also possible to make good amount of savings. At number 6, we have Slovakia. It is among those cheapest countries to live in Europe that also has a high quality of life. In terms of economy and development, it is doing much better than Poland and has a higher GDP per capita. Slovakia, even though a small and landlocked country, has one of the fastest growing economies in the European Union. Although it is a former socialist state, the country has had almost completely privatized market economy since independence. A relative low cost of living and low taxes, coupled with a wide variety of activities and natural splendor, have made Slovakia an attractive choice for expats. The cost of living in Slovakia depends on the city or town you live in. Some parts are cheaper, some are more expensive. The cost of living in Bratislava is among the same as of, for example, Berlin. And to live comfortably here as a couple, you will need just 1000 euros. As a matter of fact, Bratislava becomes more and more expensive each year. Since it is located not far from Vienna, a lot of people choose it as a base to cut expenses. If you want to live in Poprad, you can rent beautiful 2-bedroom furnished apartment for just 520 euros per month. At number 5, we have Bulgaria. Bulgaria is also the perfect combination of a charming coastline and beautiful mountains, modern, cosmopolitan cities with a bit of Soviet hint and small ridge with history towns. Many foreigners who are living in Bulgaria say that it is one of the cheapest countries for expats and the cheapest places to retire in Europe. For those who prefer mild winters, in summer you can enjoy the Black Sea on the coast or hike in the Carpathian Mountains. In winter, you can have quiet and adventure if you love skiing. Bulgarian resorts are a really nice surprise, both in quality and price. Sofia, the capital, tends to have the most expensive properties, but they are still inexpensive compared to Western European standards. Even if booking on Airbnb in advance, you can still secure an apartment for about 600 to 650 euros per month. When looking for a long-term flat through an agent, expect to pay 400 to 450 euros for the same type of apartment away from the center. In the countryside, you will find really cheap rentals, especially if you are looking for a house or a small farm. The monthly budget in Bulgaria starts at 850 euros per month for 2 people. In order to have a comfortable living, you can pay more. The best cheap cities to live in Bulgaria are Plovdiv, Burgas, Varna, and the favorite of many digital nomads, the small mountainous towns, Bansko. At number 4, we have Romania. It is another underrated country in Europe where to live on a small budget. It offers great opportunities for expats or anyone who is working online. The country has delicious food, fairly affordable prices for living, one of the fastest internet, and very beautiful nature. This Eastern European country also has cities for all tastes. As a full member of the European Union, Romania does not have to use the euro currency. This helps reduce the cost of living. Also, this country is full of natural beauty and varied landscapes. It has plains to the east, the Carpathians in the north, and the Black Sea in the south. The budget for 2 people in Romania starts at 800 euros per month and covers all of the expenses. This, however, is the minimum and highly depends on where you live and the cities of your choice. Bucharest, the capital, is the most expensive city. Areas in the north of the country are especially beautiful and cheap. If you want to live in Brasov, your monthly budget will be around 1000 euros, but you can even manage to spend little less. This amount also covers a car rental with a price of 185 euros for the entire month. One thing to mention, Romania has some of the best internet in entire Europe and even entire world. Another Baltic country which is not only a cheap place in the European Union where to live but a beautiful place with a high level of comfort. This is the largest Baltic city. 53% of the country's population lives. If you come from another EU country and want to relocate to Latvia to work there, you'll have all chances to find a job in Riga. It is also a fantastic cheap city in Europe with opportunities for a comfortable life where you can have good work-life balance. It is possible to find a 1-bedroom apartment in the very center of Riga on average for about 350 to 400 euros. For a 2 or 3-bedroom apartment, be ready to pay 400 to 500 euros. But that is possible, of course, if you rent a flat on a yearly lease. You can always look for an apartment away from the center and tourist spot. Farther neighborhoods offer accommodation 20% cheaper than in the center and often of better quality. Groceries, transportation, and healthcare will cost around 400 to 500 euros per month. At number 2, we have Lithuania. As a matter of fact, it doesn't have the cheapest cost of living in Europe. If you're interested to explore the Baltics and be close to Central Europe at the same time, Lithuania is a nice, relative, cheap country to live in. If you want to base yourself in Vilnius, keep in mind that it is the most expensive city in Lithuania. You definitely need more than 1000 euros per month to live there comfortably. Prices of utilities, groceries, and clothing are very similar to prices in Poland, and the best way to find an apartment for a short term is through Airbnb. Prices for decent Airbnb flats in Vilnius starts at 600 euros per month. Lunch at an inexpensive restaurant costs 6 to 8 euros per month, although it depends in which city you want to live in. Poland is one of the favorite countries, which is also one of the cheapest places to live in the European Union for many. Poland is really a fantastic country for many reasons, and some of them are a low cost of living and a high quality of life. Poland is famous for its excellent infrastructure, great housing, high-speed internet, and excellent entertainment. And the best part for many people who would love to move for a job is that Poland offers a lot of jobs to foreigners and is among the cheap countries that also speak English. You can find a nice apartment for 400 to 500 euros near the center of a smaller city like Zestochowa, Lodz, Bydgoszcz with good infrastructure and transportation nearby. In this case, it will become an affordable place where to live in the EU. Large cities are rather expensive. You can get a beautiful one-bedroom apartment at the rent of 200 to 250 euros. It can have furniture and excellent location. Poland is like other cheap European countries, also has quite democratic prices for food in restaurants. But compared to other countries, here portions are much larger. The bonus comes in the form of entertainment, medieval architecture, castles, picturesque lakes, mountains, as well as sky resorts, and even seaside beaches. They are endless.